Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a fired up episode on a Monday afternoon. You made it through the weekend. It's a little after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in New Jersey. And we are here in Fed quarters, Malky HQ as well. When I got the fire crackling behind me. So grab yourself a seat and let's jump into what we're fired up about today. So we're sitting here kind of figuring out what we're doing with this fired up episode as we do every day. I'm looking at Cefesa's magazine, the Cefesa Insider magazine. I always like to look into different publications, see what's going on in the world. And, just looking through things about leadership and looking at the date on the calendar. And we're saying, man, a year ago at this time, the world was about to change. The world was in the middle of a massive change with this COVID-19 pandemic. And I said, you know something? Let's be fired up today, reflecting on where we were to where we are now. So we got a little fired up here talking about, the start of the pandemic. I mean, what a crazy time. If you're with me, I appreciate it. Jump in the comments. What was going on in your world? Probably the same as a lot of us, but maybe something specific you want to bring to the table. Jump in the comments. Let me know what was going on at the end of March, pandemic 2020. I could tell you March 2020, we were just coming down from the momentum of the first Fed conference in Miami. So we just got that in before everything happened. Then I came back and I said, okay, I got the New York Restaurant Show that we have a booth at every year. I got to get over to the Javits Center. We got to get that set up. So we did that. And then I knew I had to go to RIF. I was speaking on the RIF Talk stage out there, and we were going to talk about food equipment disruption, media disruption in the food equipment industry. And I had this. So we rolled to the New York Restaurant Show on a Sunday. And from there, it started to get a little weird there. And I still wasn't, listen, I don't watch the news a lot. So I'll say that. I don't watch the news a lot. I don't pay attention too much. Here and there, I see things, obviously. I'm connected. I see things. But I wasn't really paying too close attention. And as there's big signs at the Javits Center saying, don't feel obligated to shake hands and all these different things.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So all of a sudden, I'm walking down the aisle, and people are like, everyone's trying to get worried. No one's wearing masks yet. None of that's really happening yet. And everyone's like kind of just giving elbows. Hey, Rich. Hey, how are you, man? How are you? Some people were giving me their foot. They were like, hey, Rich, here you go. We're touching feet. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell's going on right now? And, you hear all these things about people, contracting this new thing, this COVID, coronavirus. What is going on? So anyway, listen, we had obligations. We jumped on a plane. I head out to Denver, and we went to RIFMA 2020, and it was beautiful. I mean, we got there. I met up with a lot of different, industry people from all over the country, and Denver's. I didn't really get to explore much, but from what I saw, it's beautiful, beautiful city. But jumped on the RIF Talk stage, which I was super nervous to do. It was really a whole big production, something like I've never been a part of before. Great experience. And jumped on there, did my thing, and then we rolled up the stage. We had to roll back onto the plane, and you hear more talk about this stuff. And we finally get back, and we're in the office, and we're okay. We're reeling, we're ready. We got momentum from all these things happening, and then the world starts shutting down. And what do? We had to make hard decisions. The phones started to slowly. We're busy, and then the phones stopped ringing as much as they did, and the emails stopped coming in as much as they did. And we're watching the news now. Now I'm locked and loaded on the news. I'm not usually, but now I'm locked and loaded on this thing. We're paying attention to everything minute by minute, and listen, it was friggin' scary. We ended up doing our last LinkedIn Live broadcast. I think towards the end of March. I have to go back and find the exact date, but we had to furlough a lot of the people here. So a lot of the technicians and office staff and operations, we had to furlough people, and we only kept about 3 technicians running, and we were all working from home. And man, I was scared. I mean, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to have a business to come back to. Your mind starts racing, and I'm being in business, in this family business for so long. I mean, I just have a built-in paranoia about a million things anyway. So I'm paranoid about everything. I'm like, are these guys and gals, are they thinking that it's over? And I'm going to go look for another place to go and hang my hat and work there. And all these different things start running through your mind. And, so one of the things that I know I did was I started putting out weekly letters to the entire team, the entire company. And I was also making phone calls on Fridays and reaching out. And I did that for several weeks and just making sure that everybody's mental was good, making sure that they knew that Malachi's still here. Malachi's still strong. We're still doing our thing. We're still rolling on service calls. We got 3 technicians that volunteered and said, hey, I'll stay on. Everybody else was like, no, cool. Like I'm nervous. I don't know what's going on out there. I don't want to bring anything home to my family. I'm going to lay back. I'm not going to jump in and jump into these kitchens. Let me see what happens. I said, no problem. We're furloughing you. It's temporary. So everybody just was doing that. And, and then just, like I said, checking in on their mental. So calling on a Friday morning, Friday afternoon, and just called every single employee and saying, hey, are you good? Do you need anything? If you need groceries, if you need to pay your light bill, if you need to pay for your phone bill, whatever the hell it might be, to keep you moving and keep you going. Even though, unemployment might have been coming to them, it might not have happened yet. And they're, back pays and everything like that. So I wanted to make sure that nobody went hungry and that nobody lost heat, nobody lost electricity, nobody didn't have a way to connect with their phone. So that was all super important. So that was the lifeline there. And we just kept moving. And then over on the Fed group, if you're following us over on Facebook, Food Equipment Digital Disruptor Group, we started doing something called Fed Chats. And I got super fired up about doing this. I mean, I probably did at least 20 episodes, I want to say. Every week we were doing 1 to 2. And it was amazing. This really, one of the things I think we all learned was that technology is more a part of our lives than we had ever thought it would be. And people that weren't ready to jump into the technology pool and the social media pool jumped in. And I seen a lot of new people, a lot of new faces. Jason Wange, my brother, started the Food Service Power Plant Network during that time, I believe. We had talks about that, and now he's killing, he's crushing it, right? So shout out to Jason. The pandemic gave people time to look at things differently and say, you know what, maybe I need to start paying attention to what this media thing is all about. And I got to sit down and talk with people from the industry all over the place, from manufacturers to reps to dealers to consultants to service technicians. I talked to my team, and we had fun with it, and we all shared some things. We also shared 9/11, Lisa. I said, we're kind of in a pandemic, which is kind of a crazy situation. So I was having everyone recount where they were on 9/11. Do you know where you were on 9/11?
I do.
Tell us where you were on 9/11.
I was in Honduras.
You were in Honduras.
I was in Honduras. I was probably 11 years old, I think. That's how old I was.
Wow.
I know, much younger than you at that time.
Yeah, I was in a college classroom.
And I remember just being a kid and wondering what was going on, just seeing it on the TV. Everyone in the neighborhood in Honduras. So imagine, that's a third world country in Central America.
Yep. And
people were knocking on my family's door to be like, hey, gringa, look what's going on in your country. And it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah. So, for myself, I was in a college classroom. I was in St. John's in Staten Island. I was probably 19 years old. 19. I was in a history class, and I remember someone coming in and whispering into my teacher's ear, my professor's ear, and just saying, and kind of looked at all of us and was like, hey, everyone, we're all, class is canceled for the rest of the day. Let's all go over to the student center. And then from there, we just watch the TVs and watch it all unfold. And I still remember it was one of the most beautiful days, mornings.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day.
I remember it. I remember how it changed. Everyone just changed. People I didn't know, strangers, they were just like, hey, where you stay? Where do you live? Everyone was so concerned about everybody else. And I'm like, oh, well, I live across the water in Jersey. And oh, well, you don't worry. You don't, if you can't get it, because these bridges were closed, tunnels were closed. They're like, if you can't get home tonight, don't worry about it. You come and stay with us. These are strangers. This is what happens in tragic moments and pandemonium. You want to talk about how the media, not to get in, this is not a political thing. This is just how the media shows such divide sometimes. And I just can't believe it. I just can't believe all this divide. I don't believe it's real. Especially over here in our corner of the world, right? I mean, I feel like people are good to each other. Listen, there's always going to be the one-offs and those different things, but I feel in time like that, my God, it was amazing. And just to see the people waving. I remember the days passing, driving up and down the streets here, people waving to each other, American flags everywhere, being like, "Hey, how are you? How you doing? Everything good?" Like people it was like we were all one. I would love to see that happen again. But with coronavirus and all this different stuff, I think we kind of saw it again. We all weren't outside. It was happening online, and I was seeing it through our LinkedIn feed, and I was seeing it in Fed Nation. Everybody was just had a helping hand, whatever that might be, even if it was just an ear to listen or a virtual hug or whatever it might be. I mean, it was real. And so fired up to talk about where we are now, looking back where we were to where we are now. 50% indoor dining. 1 year later, 50% indoor dining after 2 weeks to flatten the curve. But that's a positive. 50% indoor dining here in Jersey. That just started about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So we're just getting there. The summer's coming. I think we're all hoping and anticipating for 100% indoor dining by Memorial Day weekend. I don't know if that's going to be. There are some cases that are rising here, so I don't know what's going to be. But I know small businesses and people. I listen to some local radio stations. People are up in arms. They've about had it, and I don't think that it's a very good idea. To hold back anything past 100% by Memorial Day. You're going to see a lot of angry business owners fighting because it's hard as it is. It's already hard as it is for them with small margins, and you're bringing people back, but then you have people they're getting ready for these stimulus checks and all these different things. I mean, who the hell wants? They're gonna stay home and ride this out, right? We got to get back to life. We got to get back to business. I do see light at the end of the tunnel. I'm talking with people. I understand. I hear working with dealers. I hear there's more equipment sales happening. I see some more installations coming onto our board. And we actually happen to service a lot of Jersey Shore locations, and they're getting ready for a season. So they're anticipating a big season because last year this time we weren't hearing from them at all, obviously. And then April came, May came, June came. We didn't hear from them, because it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve, but nothing ever happened. So fast forward a year. I mean, we're fired up. We're fired up about where we are now. So I think we have to continue to stay positive. We have to continue to network, continue to stay connected, keep building up each other, and listen, we'll get out of this together.
I'm just hoping that the boardwalk isn't as sad as it was last year.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like ghost towns.
It was.
Yeah.
In the summer. Like, that was crazy.
I know. Yeah, it was. And Easter's coming. That's always a big day for the beaches and for the shore towns. They always Easter egg hunts, all these different things. So I hear things being promoted. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some good turnouts and get these kids out, because my God, these kids, we have moms and dads and everything that work here, and they're talking about, we're ready for these kids to go back to school. We're ready for these kids to get back out in the world. It's just not good for the mental health and mental well-being of the kids. It's time, So September, I'm hoping that schools are going to be open 100%. No more there's a virtual learning. Listen, I understand new precautions have to be put in place and new things have to happen, at least for us to get back open. So what? So we do it. All right, we grin and bear it. We do it. And we can't go backwards. That's my point.
We find opportunities and move forward.
We find opportunities and move forward. And we have definitely found opportunities. And I think that's about it, Lisa. I don't know. We got no comments coming in.
A lot of listeners, though. You've got a lot of listeners.
We got people listening, and I appreciate that.
You're on a soapbox right now. That's it.
Yeah, I'm just fired up about how far we've come. It's a beautiful thing to see that we made it out of it, and it's getting back. And I know some states are wide open right now, and I know they're getting scrutiny for it and all that stuff. But you know what? Kudos to those states. God bless. Good luck. We're coming right behind you, hopefully. So,
Josh?
Josh Zolan, my man.
Failure only happens when you give up. Keep pushing forward, never relent, and slingshot out the other end.
Yes, 100%, brother.
Jesus.
Florida is the biggest example of how far we can be, how strong we are, and how we can make it through all this. Yeah, Jesus is down in Florida, so he's living out there. They are doing their thing, and he's working, and he's leading by example. So he's out there in the trenches, keeping people cooking, keeping people serving their customers, and that's what this industry is. When you look and I went on live on Saturday talking about the tragedy in Boulder with the young technician out there, and I posted again this morning in Fed Nation to see if we can't have some of our community get them to that goal of the $100,000 for the family to help offset some of these costs. It's not going to change anything or bring him back, but it will certainly help. So, focusing.
I was just focusing on you.
I'm trying to get a focus going, but that's what this industry is. Through the pandemic, leading up into today, we stand behind one another. We stand behind one another every single day. We might be in competition with some of us are in competition with each other, depending on what markets we're in. But, competition is good. I think it keeps us all on our toes. It keeps us all wanting to do better, working hard. You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. But at the end of the day, it's one industry. And all of our goals are to take care of our employees, our teams, our families. And I think that's where I'm going to end it.
No, I got a question for you.
You got a question for me?
I do, for myself. I have a question.
Lisa has a question for me.
No, well, you used to play sports growing up, right?
Yeah.
Is there a game that you remember losing that really stuck with you? That ruined your entire season?
Well, I played Little League, right? I was on Unico. That was the 10 to 12 or 10 to 13 year olds or whatever. And I was a pitcher. I pitched and I also did some catching and I played center field, but mostly I was a pitcher. And I don't know if there's one particular game. There was we always were in a division with a team called Liberty Paper, and we could never beat them for the life of us. Every year it was Unico and Liberty Paper going up one matchup to get into the playoffs, and we can never freaking win. Used to piss me off.
But you didn't give up.
No, we never gave up. We went out there every day. There was one we played against J&J Printing, I remember. Shout out to J&J and Bayonne. I remember I had in that bat that lasted for 15 minutes. I just kept fouling it off. This is not a loss. This is actually a win. But this shows you about you keep taking those cuts. You just keep taking those cuts, and foul after foul after foul. Finally, I put a ball in play, and I had a guy on second. We had someone on second. This was the bottom of the sixth inning. This was it. I outran the throw to first base, and the guy on second scored, and we won 5-4.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was a massively long at bat. I'm seriously, I had to foul the ball off 8 times.
Shout out to Quentin since he's listening now. If you want to talk about the video we just did.
Yeah. So before we get going, Quentin is here. Shout out to Quentin. Like you said, human to human, all one family. Yes, we're in an H to H business, right? We're in an H to H industry. It's human to human. We're people do business with people. But I want to shout out Quentin down in Roanoke, Virginia. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I sneezed off camera. Shout out to Quentin down Roanoke, Virginia, Old Dominion Services or Dominion Services. Old Dominion?
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion. So Old Dominion Services down there. He sponsored our most recent video that we put out for Hendrickson's Corner today. So go over to youtube.com/Malachi TV, and check out part 1 and part 2 of our hashtag Get Out Go Eat initiative, where we're helping restaurants, bringing cash in the doors, bringing new patrons in the doors, and also creating amazing content for them to have all while having a sponsor that we get to put on to our 17,000 plus eyes across all channels, from here to the Get Out Go Eat, to Fed Nation, to my LinkedIn, to my YouTube, to my Facebooks, to all of our channels. Over 17,000 plus people. That's a massive audience, I think, for this industry. It's not too bad. So we're also doing that. So thank you, Gwen. Appreciate you. If you want to sponsor a video, you just got to reach out. You know how to get in touch. There's a million ways, and I'm connected to all of them: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Anyway, we're not Twitter. We're not really paying attention to Twitter anymore, are we?
No, we aren't. Not that much.
Okay, that's it. So that'll wrap up today. And if you want to jump on a live with me, jump on a live. Let me know what you're fired up about. We'll bring you on. Let's talk about what's going on in your neck of the woods. Let's bring it to light. Let's talk about it. This is how things happen. That's it, Lisa. I don't know what else to say.
All right. Say goodbye.
Fired up on a Monday. Get ready for a big, long, strong week. This is just the beginning. Let's get it. See you on the next one.